Amen, amen. This is Samson's dialogue today. Come on, Samson. I'm just the bystander on the ride, sitting riding with you this morning.
Whatever. What's up, y'all?
What's
How y'all doing
guys?
this morning? How's everybody doing on this wonderful Tuesday morning? This is a wonderful, blessed day. As we promised, we want to talk to you about health and wellness. Yesterday, we briefly talked about your mind. Where is your mind at? Getting your mind healthy. Not outside of getting your mind healthy. You can leave it there, babe.
Okay.
Outside getting your mind healthy, what's next for you? Like, have you sat down and written down some of your goals on some of the things that you want to do, even though you trip and mistake? So,
you trip and made a mistake?
Yeah, you make a mistake, you trip, and you say, man, I failed. I'm done. They said most people who go on diets or go on change of lifestyle, when they make a mistake, let's say, for example, they eat a piece of cake that they shouldn't have been eating, they say, man, I messed up. And then they go all the way back to their old habits. So I want to get you to kind of flip the switch to say to yourself that if you make a mistake and eat something that you probably shouldn't eat, it doesn't mean that you broke your diet, or it doesn't mean that you should stop your new way of living on how you live. Most of us, I've done it for years. I could call myself an obesity expert because I've been fat for so long. So nobody can tell me different about food because I know about food, right? Like people who are nice, healthy, and go to the gym every day, they can call themselves fitness geeks, right? Or fitness coordinators, or fitness teachers, or whatever you want to call it. But I can say that me and my family we've been on a journey that we've been trying to not just lose weight but stay healthy. And before you can even stay physically healthy, you have to become mentally healthy.
Yeah, and emotionally healthy, because sometimes many of us are emotional eaters, and we say we're not, but we are. Most of us are. When something's not going right, we'll go ahead and treat ourselves to things. I call myself, I was not just the emotional eater, I was the celebrating eater as well. Like, let's celebrate. What? Let's have a party. What? Let's go eat out. Let's go to... And so you really have to start changing your mindset. It starts on the way we think and the way we prepare ourselves. We have to be prepared. We have to be ready. Because if we don't, we will go back to the same thing. And it comes with any lifestyle. When you became a Christian, right? And you asked Christ into your life, it didn't just happen overnight that you stopped doing some things that separated you from the love of God. You work on it through the power of God, through the Spirit of God. You start laying things down. You stop talking about people as much. You stop lying. You put away sinful things and habits. And so you start being transformed. And it's the same way when it comes to changing the way you see food and the way you see your health, because it's so important. I want to be around here for a long time. I talked about it the other day. Rod's grandfather is still alive, and he's in his hundreds. I want to be. I want to be that person, and he's still walking around. I think he just stopped driving. I mean, he lives on his own, and it's an awesome thing to be that age. Even my dad, I love him. He'll be 71 this year, and he still jogs 5 miles. I want to be able to say that'll be me when I'm at that age. So it starts now. I can't prepare to be 70 and I'm not doing well in my 40s, or I'm not doing well in my 20s or my 30s. So it really starts with how you see things, how we see life, how we see our health, how we see how important it is. I want to be around here for my children. I want to see them get married. I want to see them have children. I want to see my grandchildren graduate from college. I want to see them get married. And so it's awesome when you see generations alive and that they're together. God said he came to give us life in it more abundantly. And so if he came to give me life, then I have to take my life and be responsible with it. Watch what I eat. Watch what I watch. Watch what I do with it. Because the time belongs to me. It's in my hand. God has given it to me. So I have to be the captain of my soul.
Important. Watch what you watch. That is one of the most important things, where we as people, we are very bad at coordinating our time.
Yes.
And most of our time is spent on doing things that we can be doing something healthy with ourselves and productive, rather than watching, binging on Netflix or binging on different shows, and when you say, okay, well, let me sit down, let me go and take a walk, let me go to the gym, let me go do something, let me stand up and do something, let me just move around. Okay, so I've been on this journey for like the last month, and it's been a different journey than I ever been on, because so what did I do to flip the switch? So what I did was I took myself to the place of pain. And what I mean by that, no, I'm so serious. And so I started thinking one evening about my family, how much I love my kids, my wife, and my sons, and my daughters. And I started thinking about, if I was to die today, how much pain they would be in.
Right.
Like, and it brought me to tears, because I couldn't even stand just the thought of it.
Right.
Or my daughter's leaving here, or my wife leaving here. Like that, right now we're so much of a close-knit and tight, solid family that right now we can't take that. Right? And so I started thinking about that, and I said, well, you know what? I said, me as the leader of the family, I have to take charge of that, because there are certain things that God gives us control of. And when he said you should have dominion over the earth, he's talking about over our flesh also, and what we put into it, what we eat, how we eat. And so this led me on the journey of diabetes, when my mom, my dad, well, not my mom, but my dad was diabetic. My mom had congestive heart failure. My sister was diabetic, my brother, and so on and so on. So I've sat and I've watched body parts being cut off of my family members, my siblings, and going from walking and happy, my sister going from walking and happy, doing hair, but being obese, having her toes cut off, then her foot, then her leg, having my dad having his feet cut off, his toes and his legs, and then and so on and so on. And it just kept going and kept going and kept going and kept going. And they will continue to cut on you, or cut body parts off of you, until you have no more body parts. And so these places get infected and eventually, of course, have gangrene, because there's no circulation in that part of your body. And so I started thinking about that, and it bothered me so much, and that's why I said it brought me to a place of pain. So you have to take yourself and put yourself, not in my shoes, but in your own shoes, and figure out, what do you want out of life? Do you want to get the most out of life? Now, that's the physical aspect of it. Now, the spiritual and emotional aspect of it is this. What do you want out of your spiritual life when it comes to God? So now we take the physical aspect, we put that aside on the table, and now let's talk about the spiritual aspect. The spiritual aspect is that everywhere in the Word of God, the Bible speaks about how, for an example, we're not even going to talk about Jesus right now. We know he went on a 40-day fast, and right after that, miracles started happening. Like it was like rainfall. Like everywhere he went, he was laying hands. All right, so we know, and we also know that when he was speaking to the disciples, when the demons was possessing people, he said these kind of demons come out through much fasting and prayer. So we know you get power from prayer
and from fasting.
Right? So I started getting confused, because most people who fast, right, they tell us, because I'm part of that group, they tell us that, you sure you're not going to die? This is what I heard on my whole fast. I was on a 21-day fast, and I only drunk water. And in my 21-day fast, instead of anyone saying, like, what was your challenges, everyone was saying,
that's dangerous.
That's dangerous. You're going to die.
Yourself.
You're going to hurt. Do your homework before you find out anything. I would say about 80% of the things that you've been fed and told as far as nutritional facts are false. And why I say that is because I did my homework. And if you do your homework, certain sugars they want you to have, certain saturated fats they want you to have. If you watch a movie that I watched a long time ago called What the Health, you understand about saturated fats, you understand about milk, you understand about the different processed foods. Anything that's processed is probably going to kill you faster than anything. And we could go on, which we don't have time enough to put in this whole segment. So, but what I want to give you some jewels to get you started. One of the jewels is called Cracking the Obesity Code by an author named Jason Fung. And I read that book and I went through it twice. Jason Fung, The Obesity Code. And if you read this book, you will see the scientific fact of what it is about fasting. Okay, and then another book I've also read by Jettison Franklin.
Awesome book.
It's called the Power of Fasting.
Awesome book. It's about a pastor who took his whole church on a journey of fasting and why they went on a fast. A lot of things began to happen in their church.
The healing started happening.
So healings began to happen in their church, and he saw in the connection of fasting and how it made his church better. They loved better. They healed better. They did things better. Why? Because when you fast, it clears your mindset. And so a lot of times like he just said about one of those myths, is that, oh, you feel so weak and tired when you fast.
I've never been so much energized. I was afraid to do some things, even though I knew I had the energy to do it, but I was afraid just because of status quo and what people were saying. Don't burn too much energy or you're going to collapse in the street. I went to work every day, and every day I was going to work, it was like I was working for like 8, 9, 10 hours, some days 11, 12 hours. Yeah. I was going in at 8 and coming back home 7:30, 8 o'clock.
Right.
So that is a lie. It is a myth, and this is somebody who is not healthy. I'm not healthy. I'm not, as far as anytime people say, well, you could be obese and healthy. That is wrong. You could make a left turn and you could be looking at diabetes. You could be looking at a whole bunch of different things. You can't move like you want to move. You can't do like you need to do, right? Yep. So I lost 40 pounds, right? I lost 40 whole pounds. That is a lot of chicken. That's a lot of turkey. That's a lot of Thanksgiving dinners, right? And so what are we doing next? So now it taught me how to flip the switch and not to continue to go back to the lifestyle of how I ate. Yes, those things taste good, but those foods become an addiction. How do I know? Because I've seen people who went through withdrawal from heroin or from crack or from cocaine or marijuana or whatever, and usually the second and third day is their worst day.
Right.
And if you ever you could just watch a documentary and see somebody go through withdrawal on their second day of not having drugs, and that's literally what I went through. I went through literally people, I'm hearing voices saying, you know, you're going to die if you don't eat a piece of chicken. You're going to die if you don't eat this. You're going to die if you go. I started sweating. I started having headaches. I started having dizzy spells. And everybody who I did speak to about, except for my wife, but just about everybody said, well, you probably need something to eat. And so that has been the go-to for everybody, even physically, the doctors. My doctor, and I recorded my last visit with her, and I have that documented also. And she was so amazed, right? And so here's the crazy thing. This is going to blow your mind. So before I took the last test I had, the last blood test I had before I went on this fast, she was very concerned with my cholesterol. She was very concerned. She said it's not where it should be. It should be much better. So she gave me, a big pack of cholesterol pills. And if you ever seen what cholesterol pills, they're called horse pills, right? And then I didn't want to take them. And I told her I don't want to take these medications because they destroy your liver and kidneys, right? And then she said, well, you're taking high blood pressure medicine. And I said, well, I don't want to take those either because they kill your liver. And, and I've seen my dad, his kidneys was destroyed because, and eventually had to go on dialysis because of, not because of diabetes, but because his kidneys just started failing because they was being destroyed for so many years of medications, right? So I said I didn't want to take any of those, right? And she said, well, you're going to have to do something, Mr. Sampson, or you're going to die, right? So here I'm confused. They tell me I'm going to die if I don't take the medication. They tell me I'm going to die if I fast. They're going to tell me I'm going to die anyhow because the medication is going to eventually kill you. So you just got to choose on which way you want to die. You want to die being healthy, or you want to die taking medications, or you want to die just doing whatever you want to do.
Right.
All right? So I made the choice that if I'm going to die, I'm going to die trying to get healthy or being healthy.
Right.
And so I am very okay with if the Lord takes me while I'm trying to get healthy, I'm good. So I went to go take a blood test, and my last blood test, and she was tripping. She said, I really thought that these were somebody else's results. Your cholesterol in 21 days is dramatic. Like, I want to introduce you to so many of my other patients. I have this documented, right? She said, just keep on doing what you're doing. I said, is that fasting? She said, I can't recommend that. But keep on doing whatever
you're doing.
So I'm confused because she don't want me to fast, right? Because it's not recommended by the by medicine, right? By the medical industry.
Right.
It says no, don't fast. Eat, just eat healthy, right? And maybe tomorrow, the day after, I'll get into about chicken, about beef, about the different meats that are still killing you, regardless on how you cook them, regardless of how much you boil them, how much
because
you
of what they put in our food.
Right,
so
right.
That's a whole
Whether
nother, that's
grass
a whole
fed,
nother
that's a whole nother story. So what I do know is what the Bible tells me to do. It tells me to fast. What I do know is about the Daniel fast. If you read the book of Daniel, you'll see.
So you stay away from the king's delights.
The king's delight, and we're going to get into that Daniel's fast because that's very, 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 very important, and that is a very important part of the puzzle.
Very healthy to be on.
Right. And it's very healthy.
We love y'all. We got to go. Listen.
She cut me off.
No, I'm not cutting you off. We got to go. I love y'all. Listen.
We don't have to go yet, y'all.
Yes, we do.
We're still driving. She's not at her job yet.
Yeah,
but listen, check this out. So, remember, Jason Fung, The Obesity Code, right? And the other book is by Jennison Franklin, The Power of Fasting. It's called Fasting. Just look up Jennison Franklin. He is awesome. So now you have two pieces of the puzzle, and I'm not going to have to give you quotes because Jennison's going to give you everything you need to know about spiritually fasting.
Yes.
So I don't know when the last time you read a book, but pick up that book. You can buy the audio books if you want to. That's what I did, and I went through them twice.
Doctors are going to tell you not to fast.
Right.
Why? Because they went to school, and school told them not to give that information
The pharmaceutical industry is one of the most biggest, if not the biggest industry connected with insurance. And so if they imagine if you get completely healthy, imagine if there's no medicine to give you.
You put them out of business.
You put them out of business. So I'm telling you.
Let's put them out of business.
Let's put them out of business.
So we don't have to take a pill, potion, lotion.
That's right. And whatever's left over, the Bible speaks about the power of healing.
Yes.
And that if you can pray and you can fast and you can lay hands on someone, I'm telling you, you'll be surprised what God can do through the power of healing, through the power of miracles, through much prayer and much fasting. The Bible says the prayers of the righteous avail of much.
Because if you had a procedure, they'll tell you to fast because you can't eat
when
you're having a procedure.
Oh, yeah.
So it's okay to fast when you're having a procedure. It's okay to fast when you're having a blood test.
Water, purified water, right? So now they make billions of dollars off of water, right? That's in your tap, sink, or whatever that you can probably drink. So they did this test they said tap water is in competition with the waters that you buy inside of the supermarket.
Listen, New York, y'all got the best water. I'm just telling y'all.
Yes, I love New York water.
We've moved all across this country, many states. New York, you got the best water. I miss New York water. So cherish your New York water, New Yorkers.
Yes. So now, right? So when I started digging deeper into this water thing, and then we're gonna shut it down. But so I drink I drink pure water, which is like 1 parts per million. If you look at water and you see how it's tested, how you know how much contaminants or how many toxins you have in your water is by the parts per million. So if you have, like, say, 100 parts per million or 1,000 parts per million, most waters that you find in the store is like 500 parts per million, rather 1 parts per million or 0 parts per million, right? So that's how you know you have pure water, right? So this is the water that's going to help you and heal you and bring you back.
Yes, we love y'all.
Right? So one more thing.
Hurry up, Sam.
Hold on. This is really powerful, and I'm helping y'all here, right? So the other part of that puzzle is that, like, when you get IV, right? When they give you water, they give you this water. It's distilled water, because they want the purest water in you to clear out your veins.
Right.
But they'll tell you, they won't recommend you to have this water because this water is free, right? You can buy it at Walmart, but you can also create it yourself by purifying it, right? So they don't want you to know that, because they say, well, you need some type of minerals. And we'll talk about the minerals and the electrolytes a little later on.
We love y'all.
We love y'all.
Have a
blessed day. And let's make it happen.
Everybody got a dream. Listen to me. Everybody has a dream, but not everybody got a grind. You are where you